We're starting with breaking news this morning on Denver 7. I'm Jessica Crawford.
And I'm Katie LaSalle. There's been an officer-involved shooting overnight with reports of multiple victims.
Denver 7's Christian Lopez is live at the scene at 20th and Larimer. And what do we know so far, Christian?
We know multiple people have been shot. We are working to learn how many. Right now, officers have this whole area blocked off. This is on 20th and Larimer, just down the street from Coors Field. You can see that crime scene tape set up, as well as those evidence markers over there on the ground. What we know so far is that this all happened at around 1 o'clock this morning, just as people were leaving the bars after a night out. Officers realized that there was a disturbance going on and quickly realized that someone was armed and dangerous.
Officers discharged their weapons and the party went down. Officers immediately began to render aid. At this time, they also became aware of other individuals within the crowd who had been injured as a result of this incident.
All victims were taken to the hospital. They are either in serious or critical condition. Again, we are working to learn how many people were shot. We do know that no officers were injured. We're going to stay on the scene and continue bringing you guys the very latest. Live in Denver this morning, I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
Christian, thank you. And here's a look at some other stories that we're following for your Sunday.
Well, today, Unidos US is touring around Denver to help educate our Latino and Hispanic communities on COVID-19 vaccines and boosters. That's because those groups, they continue to fall behind in getting vaccinated. They will be at Iglesia Anunciacion on Humboldt Street from 9:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m.
And today is the last day for the People's Tiny Home Festival. They'll have all kinds of tiny houses ranging from places that people use as their primary home to vehicles that people use to travel across the country. There'll be vendors who can help you create your dream, and that's out in Loveland starting at 10 o'clock. It costs $10.
Sounds like a fun time. Also, a Berthoud family is trying to build an adaptive park in their community, and all you have to do this weekend is to buy some lemonade.
That's right. Lauren and Richard Bowling have 3 sons, twins Mac and Miles and Braxton. Miles developed cerebral palsy, which has impacted his mobility and forces him to use a wheelchair. They're working with a park developer to build an adaptive playground for people of all abilities. The Bowlings have raised $430,000 of their $1 million goal. $5,000 of that has come from our Denver 7 Gives viewers. For more info on how to donate or where to find that lemonade stand that you can head to this weekend, head to thedenverchannel.com.
And at 7:02, let's give you a live look outside over the metro area. A little bit hazy out there today. Sun is shining. Skies are mostly clear. Very little cloud cover statewide. Reduced air quality today and heat advisories will take effect across a portion of the state. This morning, though, it is very mild. Really beautiful start to our day. Looking out from Westminster, temperatures there are in the 60s. Same down into Aurora, Castle Rock, up through Greeley. 40s to start this morning into many of our mountain towns, including Leadville, and further off to the west, 50s moving into Aspen up through Steamboat Springs. Later on this afternoon, it is going to be much hotter than yesterday. We're expecting mid-90s right around 2, topping out in the upper 90s to near 100 degrees across the plains. So maybe head to higher terrain, take a hike. We do have the chance for a few thunderstorms popping up, maybe mainly in our central and southern mountains, but overall a much drier, sunny day. Stay cool and hydrated.
Well, this time tomorrow, things are going to be moving once again. The eastbound lanes of I-70 are closed this weekend in Denver between Washington Street and 270. That's because we're nearing the end of the Central 70 project, which has been 4 years in the making. Crews will spend the rest of today realigning lanes. That means eastbound traffic will use the new tunnel starting tomorrow morning. Then CDOT will focus on getting the westbound lanes in place.
We've been in a temporary scenario for those westbound lanes. We need to undo that temporary scenario, do some rework, and then ultimately put westbound into their final laneage come mid-September timeframe.
And there is a detour in place to get around the closure, and that will take drivers up I-25 to I-76, then to I-270, and then back on to I-70. The final piece of the puzzle is the park above those Central 70 tunnels. CDOT says it should be ready by the middle of November.
Also, I-70 isn't the only place with construction. If you drive Highway 285 to Buena Vista or southern Colorado, you do need to know about a major change that's happening. CDOT is closing a 20-mile section of the highway for 3 months. So CDOT there is replacing a poorly rated timber bridge near South Park, specifically between Fairplay and Antero Junction. CDOT's closing Highway 285 and detouring traffic using Highway 9 and 24. CDOT says this detour should only add 8 to 10 minutes to your drive. There will be detour signs in the area directing you around the work.
This morning, it's all hands on deck for cleanup after deadly flooding that hit in Larimer County Friday night. County officials tell us a mother and daughter were killed when their trailer was swept away in the floods. As of last night, County Road 44H is open only for emergency access at this time. The National Forest Service has also closed a portion of Roosevelt National Forest to evaluate safety in the area. Here's the perspective from those who witnessed that water coming in.
At that time, it sounded like a roaring, I don't know what.
Freight train.
Freight train, okay. And I looked out and it's a black river and it's all kinds of huge waves with logs and boulders and everything in it. And Jim, of course, comes. I said, Jim, my gosh, come out here. This is really scary.
County officials tell us we could get an estimate on cost of damages today. They do not expect it to reach the threshold for federal aid to be given.
Well, it has now been more than 6 months since the Marshall Fire tore through Boulder County, and many of the victims who lost everything are finally starting to rebuild.
In Superior, the town council waived the new construction tax to help cut down on costs, and now Louisville residents are asking for the same. Denver 7's Russell Haythorne reports.
We are part of the fabric of this town.
The emotion here is still raw.
How are you?
We're doing okay. It helps to be fighting for something.
The pain still fresh.
How are you?
How am I? Oh, well, this is not the way I expected my 50s to start. I turned 50 yesterday.
Congratulations. Happy birthday.
Thank you. I think like a lot of other survivors, we're just experiencing fatigue and exhaustion.
And the message from all those who lost their homes in the Marshall Fire, like Trevor and Tanya, is a simple one, directed at elected officials.
We have some council with a bit of an empathy gap.
Step up and do what's right.
Rebate our use taxes.
I think the whole community is standing up and saying, well, of course, this is what we need.
For many of these homeowners, as you can see, the debris is now gone and they're ready to move forward with permitting. The hang-up is with the use tax at the permitting process. If they can get that waived, they're ready for construction. The use tax is about 3.6% on new construction, which is an average of about $25,000 for every new home. But fire victims never planned on building new homes, so they're asking the city to waive those fees, especially considering many have other financial hardships like underinsurance.
Costs are going up, 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 up.
It can be done. It just takes the will and it takes the work.
He's right. Louisville's neighbor to the south already did it months ago.
Within the town of Superior, we acted really quickly and we decided that we wanted to waive the use taxes and cut the permit fees because we knew it was the right thing to do.
Town of Superior trustee Neil Shaw was a trailblazer in the movement and believes Louisville has dragged its feet. And Boulder County hasn't taken any action on waiving the county use tax, which also amounts to thousands per fire victim.
Quite the opposite. They've been working in the background to prevent having public conversations about refunding that use tax.
These survivors say they will fight to the bitter end.
Either council can do something and pass an ordinance to rebate them, or we can go to the voters ourselves directly.
In Louisville, Russell Haythorne, Denver 7.
Multiple people are hurt this morning after an officer-involved shooting. We've got crews at the scene and we'll continue to follow this breaking news all morning long.
Plus, if you're having trouble making ends meet, there are state programs to help with rent, where you can find it coming up.